Welcome back to The Explainer. If you were with us last time, you know we just witnessed the absolute unthinkable. Sati, fierce, divine, unbreakable Sati, stepped directly into her father's sacred fire. She chose that over living as the daughter of a man who made hatred his entire legacy. And because of that, the god who literally sits unmoved through the destruction of entire universes just had his heart completely broken. Today, we're looking at what happens when grief belongs to the divine.
Okay, let's dive into this. You know, when we humans grieve, it's usually desperate, right? It's chaotic. We frantically look for somewhere, anywhere to put all that pain. But divine grief, Shiva's grief, it is an entirely different thing. It's vast. It is absolutely still. Think of the deep ocean, not the surface storm. Up on Mount Kailash, there is this profound, almost disorienting stillness. Shiva isn't raging. He's sitting exactly as he always sits, cross-legged, totally motionless. But tears are falling, silently and without end. The ancient texts tell us that where every single tear hits the earth, a brand new river forms. Just imagine that sky growing dark and weeping right along with him.
He speaks out into the empty air. And I just want to slow down for a second here. Let's really pause and let the sheer heartbreak of this quiet moment land. He says, I am not angry with you. I am only here, holding the space you left, waiting for what comes next. Part 1. Walking the Cosmos and a World Without Sati. What happens next simply defies all explanation. Shiva actually descends from his mountain. He gently lifts Sati's charred form and he just begins to walk. He walks through a stormy cosmos, through deep forests, across entire oceans, moving through heavens and the mortal world alike. He doesn't stop, he doesn't say a word to anyone. His incredibly faithful followers, the Ganas and Nandi, well, they can only follow at a helpless distance. Even the greatest gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Indra, they are all standing there in absolute shocked silence. And with every single step Shiva takes, the ground subtly shakes. It's perpetual, like a heartbeat that has completely lost its rhythm.
As he walks, he softly speaks to her. And there's a quote that perfectly captures this beautiful, really heartbreaking defiance born out of his sorrow. He says, I will simply carry you, and we will see what creation does about that. I mean, just think about the sheer weight of that statement. This is a god who has literally held the entire cosmos in his matted hair. He's watched stars be born and die as easily as a flower opening and closing, but he genuinely does not know how to exist in a world where Sati is absent, so he chooses not to. He simply carries her.
But you see, this brings us to a seriously terrifying question. If he walks like this forever, creation is going to unravel. The three worlds are watching in pure anguish. His sorrow has already flooded provinces with those rivers of tears. The stars themselves are dimming out. Brahma is in an absolute panic because the seasons are completely losing their order. So what do you do? How do you save the universe without disrespecting a god's profound, shattering grief? Which brings us to Section 2, the sacred division and distributing the weight. Now, what's really interesting here is Vishnu's deeply respectful intervention. Vishnu realizes a crucial truth. He cannot take Shiva's grief away. That is not his to touch. But what he can do is release Sati from Shiva's arms so that this unbearable weight can be distributed. Very slowly and with immense reverence, Vishnu releases his divine spinning disc, the Sudarshana Chakra. It silently follows Shiva's path, and gently, piece by piece, it begins to release Sati's form into the world. It's almost like a prayer being distributed across the earth. And that leads us to this stark, singular number, 51. This represents the exact number of sacred sites born from where pieces of Sati's form fell to the earth. Because here's the thing, this ancient myth connects directly to our reality today. Wherever a part of Sati fell, the earth was physically transformed. We're talking flowers blooming in absolutely impossible places, springs rising up right out of dry, barren rock filled with eternal warmth. These specific spots became the Shakti Peethas. They are the ultimate seats of the divine feminine. Sati's grief was literally transformed into living sacred geography. And even today, thousands of years later, pilgrims still travel to these 51 places, not as tourists, but to feel something profoundly real, something that completely outlasted the tragedy that tried to end it. Let's move to Section 3,
wrath, and restoration as Veerabhadra emerges. Get ready for a massive shift in tempo here, because the stillness is about to shatter. The exact moment the last piece of Sati falls to the earth, Shiva looks down. He realizes his arms are empty, and his third eye stirs. From his matted hair, born of the absolute first true rage he has ever felt in his existence, emerges Veerabhadra. This is an immense, fierce divine warrior who completely embodies the wrath of the Mahadeva. And the destruction? It is absolute, and it is swift. Veerabhadra strikes Daksha's yagna like a violent storm. The gods scatter, the sacred fire is snuffed out, and Daksha, that proud lord of creation whose arrogance started this whole nightmare, finally falls. But right here is where the story pivots. So the absolutely crucial point to understand is that this is not a story of vengeance. It is the ultimate display of dharma. When Brahma and the other gods beg for Daksha's restoration, Shiva actually agrees. He brings Daksha back, but he remakes him with the head of a goat. Now, don't mistake this for a petty mark of shame. It's actually a mark of transformed humility. That incredibly proud, arrogant man is unmade and then beautifully remade by divine grace. And to this newly restored, now bowing Daksha, Shiva delivers these exhausted, incredibly truthful words. What you destroyed, the universe will remake. It always does. That is what creation is for. It's such a powerful, lingering reminder for all of us, isn't it? No father, no king, and absolutely no mortal can ever control what love chooses. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, The Long Wait, Exploring Patience and Faith.
Shiva's arms are empty now, but the grief remains. It hasn't magically disappeared, it's just found somewhere much deeper to settle. So he returns to Kailash. He sits back down beneath his tree, and he closes his eyes. But he doesn't meditate for peace. No, he meditates for the extreme, heavy patience required to simply wait. Try to feel that profound stillness for a second. A god settling in for an eternity of waiting.
He speaks softly into the stillness, talking to Sati wherever she is. I know the soul of you, and souls like yours do not simply end. They only wait for their next beginning. And this brilliantly illustrates Shiva's absolute faith in the great, cosmic cycle of things, his eternal devotion. He knows for a fact that some true things, real things, simply do not die.
The crescent moon on his brow glows softly in the dark. The mountain settles, he waits, and creation, which had basically been holding its breath through all of this, finally exhales. Because the love story of Shiva and Sati wasn't over, not even close. Somewhere in the great cycle of things, a soul is already making its way back. Right now, somewhere deep in the mountains, a child is about to be born. A child who will grow up feeling a pull she simply cannot explain, toward a mountain she has never visited, and toward a god she has never even met. Will the love that shook the cosmos survive being born completely new? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait to find out. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.